Michael A.I.R. Jordan, original career documentary. What if the greatest basketball player of all time wasn't born a legend at all? What if Air Jordan, the name that sells out arenas, sneakers, and memories, was built from pain, humiliation, and an obsession so fierce it scared even the people closest to him? Most stories about Michael Jordan start with the highlights, the championships, the buzzer beaters, the posters on every teenager's wall. But that's the end of the story, not the beginning. Before the world knew his name, he was just a kid who got cut from his high school team. A kid who walked home in silence, clenched, replaying the coach S words until they burned into his brain. He wasn't tall enough. He wasn't skilled enough. He wasn't ready. That moment, the kind of moment that breaks most kids, didn't break him. It built him. It lit a fuse inside him that never went out. People talk about Jordan E's competitiveness like it was some cute personality trait. They have no idea. It was darker than that, deeper than that. It was a hunger that followed him everywhere, to school, to the weight room, to the court, even into his dreams. Every eye roll, every insult, every rival who smirked if he missed a shot. He stored all of it like ammunition. The world would later call it the Jordan mentality. But back then it was just survival. When he finally became Michael Jordan, when the crowds chanted his name, when reporters followed him like shadows, he didn't see fame. He saw expectations he had to destroy, pressure he had to dominate, people he had to prove wrong again and again and again. And the truth is, nothing about his rise was guaranteed. Not the college championship shot, not the draft, not the rookie explosion, not the three-peats, the MVPs, the global takeover. Every era of his career was a battle he wasn't supposed to win, because the world saw a basketball player. Jordan saw something else. A path he refused to lose on, a stage he refused to walk away from, a legacy he refused to let fade. And the deeper you go into his story, the more you realize Michael Jordan didn't just change the game. He broke it, rebuilt it, and then rose above it. This is the real story of how a kid from Wilmington became Air Jordan, not by talent alone, but by a force of will the world had never seen before. And this is where it all begins. Section 1. The cut that created a monster. Before Michael Jordan ever shocked the world, he faced the moment that almost erased him from basketball entirely. It happened in a quiet high school gym, the kind of place where legends Don T usually begin. Jordan was a skinny sophomore, eager, energetic, and convinced he'd earned a spot on the varsity squad. He walked into tryouts with confidence and walked out with his name missing from the list. For most kids, that kind of rejection stings for a few days, maybe a week. For Jordan, it became the moment that rewired his entire personality. He didn't cry in front of anyone. He walked home alone, shut the door to his room, and made a promise to himself that felt less like a goal and more like a threat. This will never happen again. What followed looked less like training and more like obsession. Jordan didn't just practice, he attacked the game. Early mornings, late nights, endless drills. He worked until the gym manager had to kick him out. And every time he felt tired, he thought about that cut list. He imagined the players who made it. He pictured the coach who didn't believe in him. That anger became fuel. But what people misunderstand is this. Jordan wasn't trying to get good. He was trying to get undeniable. He wanted to become the kind of player no coach could ever overlook again. Within a year, he grew taller, stronger, sharper. His confidence hardened into something unshakable. He wasn't just improving, he was transforming. That humiliation had created a new version of him, one that didn't just want to win but needed to dominate. And this was only the beginning. because the next chapter of his life would take him somewhere far bigger, a college program where pressure, expectations, and opportunity were waiting to collide. Section 2. Becoming a star at UNC. When Michael Jordan stepped onto the campus of the University of North Carolina, nobody saw a future icon. He wasn't the strongest recruit. He wasn't the most famous. He wasn't even the loudest voice in the locker room. He was just a freshman trying to blend in, surrounded by older players who already understood the weight of college basketball. But Dean Smith, the legendary UNC coach, noticed something different. Not flashy talent, not ego, but a quiet intensity, the kind that didn't need words. Jordan showed up early to practices, stayed late after everyone left, and listened with a focus that made coaches double take. He wasn't just learning plays, he was absorbing the entire language of the game. And slowly, the skinny kid from Wilmington started forcing everyone in the room to take him seriously. Then came 1982, the NCAA championship, a moment bigger than anything Jordan had ever experienced. With the game tied and the clock bleeding away, the ball swung into Jordan's hands. For a freshman, that's the moment your knees shake, your mind goes blank, and you become another forgettable player in the highlight reel of someone else's victory. But Jordan wasn't built like that. He rose up, released the shot, and hit the jumper that sent shockwaves through the entire country. One moment, he was Michael Jordan, freshman. The next, he was Michael Jordan clutch. That shot didn't just win a championship. It awakened something inside him. Pressure no longer scared him. He wanted more of it. The bigger the stage, the more alive he felt. NBA scouts watching from the stands didn't just see talent, they saw fearlessness. The kind of rare steel that only shows up in legends. And as whispers about his future grew louder, the league had no idea that a storm was forming. Section 3. The league was not ready. By the time the NBA draft rolled around in 1984, Michael Jordan had become a rising star. But even then, the league didn't quite understand what it was about to receive. Houston took Hakeem Olajuwon fair. But Portland? They passed on Jordan for a center they thought they needed. And that tiny decision lit another fire inside him. Jordan wasn't just the third pick. He was the third player chosen behind someone he knew he would outperform. When he arrived in Chicago, the Bulls were struggling. Attendance was low, locker room culture was shaky, and the team was anywhere near championship material. It was the kind of environment where rookies usually get swallowed whole. But Jordan walked in like someone who'd already lived a lifetime of proving people wrong. From the first practice, it was obvious he wasn't like the rest. Veterans tried to test him physical play, hard fouls, trash talk. Jordan didn't back down. If anything, he answered harder. His speed, his sense of timing, his confidence, it all hit the Bulls like a shockwave. Then came opening night. A rookie wasn't supposed to take over games, but Jordan did. He attacked the rim with a kind of violence nobody expected. He moved like gravity was a suggestion. Within weeks, arenas that once sat half empty were selling out just to watch this new kid take flight. Analysts tried to label him. Was he a scorer, a showman, a future star? They didn't realize they were witnessing the birth of a phenomenon. Jordan didn't want to fit into the NBA, he wanted to reshape it. Every dunk, every clutch performance, every moment he tore through defenders sent a message. He wasn't here to participate. He was here to dominate. But the league, sensing the rise of a new force, had its own response waiting, and it wasn't gentle. Section 4. Broken bones, broken fear. Jordan's rise was so explosive that the league didn't just take notice, it pushed back. The mid-80s NBA was physical, punishing, and merciless to young stars who showed up too fast. Every night felt like a test, Hard fouls weren't T accidents. They were messages. And Jordan, who attacked the rim like it owed him something, became a target. Then came the moment every Chicago fan remembers. 1985, a routine drive, a landing that went wrong, a sharp crack in his left foot. The diagnosis was brutal, a fractured navicular bone. In the NBA, that kind of injury can destroy a career before it even begins. Chicago's front office panicked. They wanted him to sit, rest, recover slowly. But Jordan wasn't wired for patience. Sitting on the sidelines, watching his team struggle, watching games slip away, it ate at him. To him, the injury wasn't a setback. It was a challenge. And nothing provoked him more than being told what he couldn't do. Behind the team's back, he flew to Chapel Hill and trained at UNC. Secret full-court scrimmages, limited minutes turned into full-speed games. Every doctor shook their head, every executive said no, but Jordan kept pushing. When the Bulls finally allowed him to return, they tried controlling him with a strict 14-minute restriction. Jordan hated it, hated every second. He'd sprint onto the court, dominate, and get yanked out mid-momentum. Fans booed. Jordan glared. Management panicked. It was chaos. And then the playoffs. Jordan unleashed 63 points against the Boston Celtics, the greatest team of that era. Even though Chicago lost, Larry Bird famously said Jordan wasn't a player that night. He was God disguised as Michael Jordan. That performance didn't just announce Jordan's comeback. It warned the league. You can hurt him, but you can break him. And yet, Jordan still couldn't carry the Bulls alone. He needed something, or rather, someone the league never saw coming. Section 5. The arrival of Pippen and the birth of a dynasty. Jordan was unstoppable, but even he knew one truth. You can't win championships alone. The Bulls had a star, but not a system. They had highlight plays, but not a structure. And they had Jordan's fire without the team that could survive it. Then came the turning point. In 1987, Chicago drafted a skinny, quiet forward from Central Arkansas, a player most fans had never heard of. His name didn't sound threatening. His frame didn't look intimidating. But Scottie Pippen had something rare, potential that only needed time and the right environment to detonate. At first, Jordan wasn't as impressed. Pippen wasn't strong enough, confident enough, or aggressive enough to match NBA intensity. But slowly, almost silently, Pippen evolved. He grew into his body, his defense sharpened, his court vision expanded, and most importantly, he developed a mentality that could stand next to Jordan without fear. It wasn't long before Jordan realized he wasn't just getting support, he was getting a partner. Then Phil Jackson arrived, the mastermind who understood how to turn talent into a machine. He didn't try to change Jordan. He did something smarter. He built a system around him. The triangle offense wasn't just a strategy. It was a language one that demanded trust, movement, and sacrifice. Jordan became more than a scorer. Pippen became one of the best defenders the league had ever seen. And together, they formed a duo that played like two halves of the same mind. The Bulls didn't just improve, they transformed. The culture shifted. Practices got tougher. Expectations rose. And for the first time in years, Chicago didn't feel like a team with a star. It felt like a team with a future. But the transformation was far from complete. Jordan and Pippen were ready. Phil Jackson's system was taking shape. All they needed now was the moment, the breakthrough that would rewrite NBA history. Section 6. The first three-peat. Dominance rewritten. When the Bulls finally broke through in 1991, it wasn't just a championship. It felt like destiny cracking open. Everything Jordan had built, every ounce of pressure he had carried, Every rival who tried to slow him down, it all converged into a team that moved with the precision of a machine and the swagger of a champion. First came the Lakers, Magic Johnson, the face of the NBA, standing in the way of a new era. Jordan didn't just beat him, he outclassed him. The mid-air switches, the impossible finishes, the control it all signaled that the league-esque throne had officially changed hands. Then came 1992, and with it, an even scarier version of the Bulls. Jordan sharpened his scoring, tightened his defense, and walked into every game like he had something personal to settle. The finals were a showcase 6 3-pointers and a half. The shrug, the smirk. He wasn't surprised by his own greatness. He expected it, and everyone else had no choice but to accept it. 1993 completed the first three-peat, a feat so rare it felt unreal. But behind the dominance was a man carrying the weight of the world. Media pressure escalated. Fame became invasive. Every decision, every appearance, every whisper around his name turned into a headline. The competitive fire that made Jordan unstoppable also made him a target for critics, reporters, and people who didn't understand how he operated. And behind all of that noise stood the person who grounded him, his father. Michael Jordan Sr. had been his anchor, his advisor, and the one person who could soften the edges of his obsession. But the world didn't know it yet. The next chapter in Jordan's life wouldn't be about basketball. It would be about heartbreak, a tragedy that would shake him so deeply. The game he loved would suddenly feel unrecognizable. Section 7. Retirement, Grief, and the Baseball Escape. Just when Michael Jordan seemed untouchable at the peak of his power, fresh off a three-peat, the biggest name on the planet, life struck him in a way no rival ever could. In the summer of 1993, Jordan faced a loss so devastating, it shook the foundation of everything he had built. His father, the man who had been his mentor, his guiding voice, his calm in every storm, was suddenly gone under heartbreaking circumstances. For the first time in his adult life, Jordan felt empty. Basketball, the thing that had always felt like oxygen, suddenly felt meaningless. The competitive fire that once burned so brightly dimmed to almost nothing. Reporters tried to analyze him, critics made assumptions, and fans waited for answers. But Jordan wasn't thinking about the league, fame, or championships. He was thinking about family, about healing, about escaping a spotlight that had turned blinding. So he made a decision nobody expected. He walked away. In October 1993, the greatest basketball player in the world stepped to a microphone and announced his retirement, not due to injury, not due to decline, but because, for the first time ever, he needed distance from the game that had taken everything from him. Then came the twist that shocked everyone. Jordan chose baseball. To outsiders, it looked strange, even foolish. Why leave the sport you dominate to play one you hadn't touched in years? But to Jordan, baseball wasn't random. It was a tribute. His father had always imagined seeing him in a baseball uniform. So, MJ honored that dream the only way he knew how, by chasing it with full commitment. Critics mocked him, sports radio laughed, but Jordan kept pushing, slowly improving, rebuilding himself from scratch. And while he swung bats in minor league stadiums, something inside him quietly reignited. Watching the NBA evolve without him, hearing whispers about new stars, seeing the game shift, that old fire returned. And soon, the world would hear two simple words that changed everything. Section 8, Return, Revenge, and The Last Dance. When Jordan announced his return in March 1995, the entire sports world stopped. Two words, "I am back," sent shockwaves through the league, through locker rooms, through every fan who had waited for the impossible. But the Jordan who walked back onto the court wasn't the same man who had left. The baseball body, the rust, the timing it showed. He still had flashes of brilliance, but something was missing. The league smelled vulnerability. Rivals who once feared him now saw an opening, and the Orlando Magic, young and hungry, sent Jordan and the Bulls home early. For any other superstar, that might have been enough. A respectable comeback, a decent run, a graceful ending. But Jordan wasn't built for graceful. He was built for domination. That offseason became one of the most intense training periods of his entire career. He tore down the baseball physique, rebuilt the basketball version, sharpened every weakness, and returned with a seriousness that made teammates uncomfortable. Practices got harder, expectations skyrocketed, and the Bulls, under Phil Jackson's system, locked into a terrifying rhythm. The result? A 72-win season, the greatest regular season in NBA history at that time. Then came the playoffs. 1996, 1997, 1998. The second three-peat wasn't just greatness, it was vengeance. Jordan hit dagger after dagger, dragging teammates to higher levels, destroying narratives, silencing critics, and proving that not even time could slow him down. His leadership became sharper, colder, even ruthless. But that edge is exactly what carried the Bulls through every battle. And then came the 1998 Finals Utah, Game 6, clock winding down, one last possession, one last chance to decide everything. Jordan sized up Brian Russell, shifted, and rose for a shot that froze the world. The ball dropped through the net like it was guided. It was perfect, historic, final. It was the last masterpiece of an artist who always understood the moment. And though he would play again later, nothing would ever match the poetry of that ending an icon, walking away at the height of his power.